important, checking the guns that come into the city, but that's not where it begins. It begins with the guns that are here now. They're in the courts, the arrests are pending, and the prosecutors are doing nothing with them. And that's where the focus has to be. And it's not just guns. It's quality of life enforcement. It's setting a tone that laws matter. And that's going to require him getting legislators and district attorneys on board. And that's the points that he came out with are great, but he's got to do that. And I hope he knows that. He's got to get them on board. Otherwise, we're spinning our wheels.
You know, Joe, it's really unbelievable. The federal response to this crime crisis is really non-existent. It seems like they're too busy worrying about these so-called domestic terrorists. And Press Secretary Jen Psaki, she was pressed on this, and she actually admitted now what the real problem is. Listen.
Gun violence is a huge reason for the surge in crime. Underfunding of some police departments and their need for additional resources, something the president has advocated for consistently through the course of his career. That's something we know we need to take action on.
Ah, wow. So they finally admitted after all those calls to defund the police. You know, I have to say it is getting refreshing to hear her actually admit that defunding the police made our communities less safe.
You know, what gets us angry, what gets me angry, is the arrogance, and there's almost like a presumption that we're stupid. So when she says something like he's advocated for funding police his whole career, well, when did I hear him say that in 2020? I didn't hear a word when he was campaigning in the basement. I didn't hear a word from all of them. And here's the thing, the elected officials now that are starting to say crime matters and safety matters, I don't trust it with many of them. I don't trust it with many of them because they haven't said it for 2 years, but they're saying it now. Why? Because they're watching the polls, and now it's finally important to people. You know, when this carnage began, when they pulled anti-crime out of the NYPD, the shootings doubled that week. It was within a week, and I said, when something catastrophic happens, God forbid, this will get everyone's attention, and it'll turn around. And Deval Gardner, an 18-year-old boy, baby, was in his stroller and killed in Bushwick. Brownsville. And I thought, this is going to do it. That was back in July. It didn't. And then people were getting shot in Petaluma. It's a landmark. That'll do it. Nah. Kids getting shot in Times Square. So as tragic as this is and heartbreaking, you know, Will get shot, hanging on, you know, to his life. Jason will be burying him Friday. As tragic as this is, I'm hoping, which is why your coverage is so important, I'm hoping that this is the moment that people are going to say, this is enough. This is enough. And I'm hoping this brings us there.
Joe, I really hope it is too. You know, I can't tell you, it's awful to see what happens to these men and women in law enforcement. It's awful to speak to people in cities like New York that say they once felt safe there and they don't anymore. And same thing here in our city in Washington and so many of our cities across the country as we see this unfold. Joe Fox, thank you so much for being with us tonight.